This is my friend Irene, and we are going to be interviewing her today. So let's begin.
All right.
Irene, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Guatemala.
What part of Guatemala?
I grew up in the second largest city. The name of it is Quetzaltenango. I know it's a tongue twister.
That is. How was it different than the way that children grow up here?
That's very interesting. I think culturally, the biggest difference is how close-knitted families are. So, for example, families are never really separated, and so you have a big support system within your family. So, one of the most shocking concepts for me was childcare, because back home there's no such thing as childcare facilities. There's a grandma or there's an aunt or there's somebody that will take care of your children. And so
within your family,
because amongst family you just support each other however you can. And so your kids grow up being really close to their grandma or their aunt and their cousins. And so to come here and realize that you talk to people, like, how many cousins do you have? Or, you talk about families and people are like, I don't know. I don't talk to my families, or I haven't seen my grandma in like years. That was shocking to me. So that's a big difference.
All right. What was the cool hangout place whenever you were like growing up? Because here in America, or in Oklahoma, we go to movies and skating and things like that.
So we also have movie theaters, but they tend to be more expensive. The in thing in my hometown was the coffee shops, because Guatemala has a lot of tourists come in, and the coffee shops allow for people to have a place where they can just gather and chill, and it's fairly economical because it's just a coffee and a pastry of some sort. And so growing up, as kids at the time, right, we just, hey, you want to have some coffee? Yeah, sure, let's go have some coffee. And so we would walk downtown to go just have a cup of coffee. That's what we did.
A cafe?
Yep, and just sit there for hours and just chat.
What was your favorite food while you lived there? Like that's not common here.
We have a lot of our foods tend to be meats with a sauce, and the difference is the sauce. So it's the same meat over and over again, but you just serve it with you cook it with a different sauce. So my favorite one is a sauce that is based out of cilantro and tomatillos, and it just has this amazing bright flavor. And my husband does not like cilantro that much, so I don't make it that much of it. That's a killer.
I mean, how is music there different than music here?
It is very different, just the type of music. We listen to a lot of salsa and bachata, and the rhythm is just completely different.
Do you prefer the music there or here?
I prefer the music there. Oh yes.
I don't blame you.
You start playing some salsa right now, and my heart just starts dancing right away. That's the way it goes, I guess.
What are common hobbies around there? Here.
Visiting people.
Sports.
That's what you do.
You
finish with your homework, and then you go visit your aunt, and the next day you go visit your neighbor, and you just go to their house and you just visit with them. That's what people do.
How is the work life compared to here?
It's very chilled. One of the huge eye-opening things was that I realized in America, time means money. And so in here, everybody's like, run, 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 go, go, go. Because if you don't live that life, you don't make money. And back home, and it's not just in Guatemala, I think it's in the Latin American culture, we are a lot more chilled. And it's not I don't think that for us it's so much about money, which is probably why we're mostly still third world countries. But it's about just enjoying life. So, people go to work and they perform, that is not quite as stressful. And then everybody at noon, they close all the business and everybody goes home and has lunch with their families. And then they come back to work and they work until, they'll come back at 2 o'clock and they'll work from 2 to 7. And then they'll leave and they'll go. But it's the most important thing is that everybody breaks so that they can have lunch with their families.
Is it like that with schools too?
Yes.
They got to go home?
They go home, yeah. So we have a longer school year, but shorter day so that people can part at lunchtime and eat together.
How are the people's behaviors towards one another? Are they like here? They can be very rude, can be very things like that.
I think people are very warm, but they receive you very warmly. They're very friendly. I don't know, they're willing to help out. If you need something, you can ask anybody and they will try to do their best to help you. It depends. It's really funny because it depends what city you are from. And this is something that I have learned about most of Latin American countries. There's a lot of they're rivals from one city to another. So, how can I explain that? Like sometimes they will look down on people because they're from other city,
Okay.
And there's but they're not mean. They joke about that kind of stuff. And they're like, oh, so you're from over there? I'm from over here. It's kind of like that.
What are the politics like? Politics are very big here.
Okay, politics are very corrupt. There's democracy, but it is so marked that there's always somebody behind a politician telling them what to do and like managing them. And
like a puppet.
Like a puppet, yes, like a puppet. And there's a lot of abuse to the people, Politicians get to power, and most of the time they don't do what they said they were gonna do, and they will take advantage of their position to benefit themselves, and that has hurt a lot. Not just my country, but most of the countries down there, And so yesterday I was talking to my dad about that, and actually the United States, in my country, they have formed an organization that is intervening so that politicians have to be accountable for what they are doing, what they are offering, and how they're behaving. And so I think that is going to help a lot to improve the circumstances in the country. And I think that the U.S. Need or desire to intervene in that way is that if they can help these itty-bitty poor countries to provide their people a better environment, to provide them a sustainable way of living, then these people are not going to want to migrate to the United States, And so it's a win-win situation. And I was really glad to hear about that.
Yeah. Is everything very rushed or very relaxed?
Very relaxed. People just take it easy. They tell you, okay, so the store opens at 8 o'clock. You get there at 8 o'clock in American time, and it's 8:05, 8:07, 8:13, and finally the shop owner shows up and he'll open the shop and he'll treat you really well, but he's not trying to get there and get it done. People take naps. Napping is a common thing for young people and old people alike. No shame on it. So it's siesta time for everybody. And there's no traffic. It's not as hectic as it is in here. And my city is very, very small and we have a lot of vehicles. But there's very, very few cases of road rage. So that tells you how relaxed people are.
Do they do a lot of walking or do they do more driving?
A lot of walking. Like you can walk anywhere. So being a kid, you cannot drive. Just ask permission and you go. No problem. Nobody has to take you anywhere because you can just get walking and you get to places. So that was good.
What are common foods or recipes that are very like popular? You know, here we have hamburgers. Stuff
Okay,
like that.
so I would say chile rellenos, which you guys have a version of them here from the Mexican restaurants. Rice, we eat a lot of rice, and it's not just simple rice; it has a lot more flavor in it. We eat beans, black beans, pretty much with every meal, and we never get tired of them. And we eat plantains a lot.
What is the agriculture like? Like, are there lots of meats, dairy, grain?
The agriculture is very popular, and it's a very successful market because of our location geographically. We have a beautiful climate, and so we're able to grow things year round. So we export a lot of vegetables, and actually we export them to China and a few places in Europe instead of bringing them to the United States. It's my understanding that they pay better for better quality vegetables, and then vegetables are super cheap back home. Like I remember going to the market and paying, compared to $1, it was like 13 cents of $1 for a cucumber. When I came here and I had to pay $1 for a cucumber, I almost had a heart attack. It was heart-wrenching. It was horrible. But back to your question. So Guatemala's agriculture supports the economy a lot, and our biggest products are sugar, corn, and beans.
What is the socialness like? Like, do they worship celebrities and looks as people here can do?
Okay, tell me the beginning of the question again.
What is the socialness like?
The socialness. Okay, that's a new word for me. So because we're so geographically, we're very close to the United States. We have a lot of U.S. influence on the things that are shown on TV. So yes, we keep up with a lot of American artists. So we get a lot of like music in English, and we know who they are. Most of the time, we cannot sing a single song because they're all in English. But yeah, we like it.
What was your best or favorite childhood memory while you lived in Guatemala?
Well, I have so many. I was in the 5th grade, and we moved I grew up in the city, and then for 2 years, my mom got transferred to a different job, and we moved to a country area, and I just absolutely loved running in that scenery. You know, there was a lot of pine trees, and just the I remember like the smells, and I remember the calm and quiet. There was a creek. It was just so beautiful.
What was your home life like? Like, did you sit down and play board games, or just talk and spend quality time together?
So after lunch, between lunch and dinner, because we'll do lunch at like 1, and then we'll do dinner around 8 o'clock. Then around 5 o'clock, everybody has coffee and sweet bread. And that time you can either do at home, or you can go, and that's when you visit aunts and uncles and neighbors and whoever else you want to go. And so that's what that's the part that I remember. That's what we did. We just visited with people. You know, just sat there and just talked about what was going on and what was worrying people and how so and so doing. You know, just mingled with people.
So it was not how it is here. Like families can just sit down at a television and not speak to each other the entire night.
Yes. So, for example, when we go to celebrate Thanksgiving, it drives me crazy that the whole family's together. You know, there's food, and you could sit down in there, and there's always a TV with the football game on.
Yes.
And it's always in the background, and people are talking to you, and they're paying attention. And they're talking to you, and they're paying attention. You know, there's not a specific time where, like, it's just you. And I don't know if that is with all of the families, but that's the family that now I belong to.
Yeah. Do you like it better here or there?
So it's really hard because there's so many things that I like